Is anybody out there a Mississippi State Bulldog fan? Pretty weak. Is there anybody out there who's a Mississippi State Bulldog fan? Is there anybody out there that's an Ole Miss Rebel? There we go. Apparently there is. What a great day to be a Mississippian. I tell you, I'm excited about that. I would ask if there were any Baylor Bears, but my team lost last weekend. So now I'm all about Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Thank you so much for letting me be with you here today. You know, as I contemplated what I would talk about today, I thought, you know, the normal course is for politicians to get up here and talk about what's most important to them. That's usually them. But today I decided I would talk about what's important to MEC. So I got on your website and I looked, what are MEC's priorities? What is important to MEC? And how is the legislature measuring up to accomplishing those priorities? So I looked at your blueprint, Mississippi. It says on there that it is a plan to improve our competitive position, to put our state in the place of greatest opportunity. And there are 9 goals listed there. Now, I don't have time today to talk about 9 goals, but I got time to talk about one of them. And it's the first one that was listed. The first one listed says to increase the educational achievement of Mississippi. This makes sense. MEC is about advancing economic prosperity in Mississippi. We believe that economic prosperity is dependent upon good jobs, and that good jobs are dependent upon receiving a quality education. So our economic prosperity is directly dependent upon our educational system. So how is the legislature measuring up when it comes to increasing our educational achievement in Mississippi? So I went back and I looked at the 2011 blueprint. One of the things listed in there was the creation of charter schools. Your organization has decided that the creation of charter schools is one of the ways that we can advance educationally in Mississippi. Well, I'm here to tell you that this current legislature has accomplished that. I believe that every child in this state ought to have a quality educational opportunity. I've said that for years. I'm fortunate that I live in Clinton, Mississippi. Clinton was recently rated as the #1 district in the state. The children in my town have a quality educational opportunity. But we can't say that that exists everywhere around the state. Not every child has a quality educational opportunity. But I believe they should, regardless of whether they're poor, wherever they may live, whatever their parents may do for a living, or even if their parents do nothing at all. Every child deserves a quality educational opportunity. But yet we've for too long said you as a child cannot go to any school district other than the one we provide to you in the town where you live. You must go to that school and you cannot go to any other. Now, if we provide a great school like we do in Clinton, that child's okay. But if we're not providing a great educational opportunity, then that child, we're doing wrong by that child. That child does not have that opportunity. You know, we don't apply that logic to any other area of life. When it comes to picking a doctor, you're not bound to your hometown to go to the doctor there. You're free to go wherever you want. When you go on to pick a lawyer, you're not bound to your hometown. Just go to that lawyer. You can go wherever you want. When you want to pick a mechanic, you're not bound to your hometown to go to the mechanic that's there. You can go to anyone you want. We don't apply that kind of logic to any other thing in life. But yet when it comes to our kids, we say, you got to go to the school in the town where you live, and if we don't provide a good one, you're just out of luck. The charter school bill that we passed creates that opportunity. It allows a good school to come into that community and gives those parents a choice. If they like what they got, they just keep going there. If they don't like what they have, it gives them another option. Ladies and gentlemen, this legislature has accomplished that goal. And we should not apply that logic, we should not apply the logic of confining them to a town when our most valuable resource is at stake, and that is our children. I looked at your 2004 blueprint. One of the objectives there was to retain more and better teachers. This legislature has accomplished that, ladies and gentlemen. This last year, we passed a teacher pay raise. That puts us on a competitive level with our surrounding states. We have many bright graduates coming out of our colleges. We want to keep them here in Mississippi. We want them to stay here and work and teach our kids. We don't want them going to other states. We were lagging behind in starting pay, so we raised that. We gave them a teacher pay raise this year. That gives our best and brightest graduates a reason to stay in Mississippi and teach. It also gives our veteran teachers who have gained experience and have tremendous experience and knowledge to pass along a reason to stay involved in our school system. We passed Governor Bryant's Education Works package. This offers scholarships to high-performing students to encourage them to go into the teaching profession. This helps encourage them to stay in Mississippi. And we've raised our salaries to a point now where we can give them an incentive to stay. We created a pilot program to implement a compensation-based, a performance-based compensation package for our teachers so that those who are performing the best get the rewards for the hard work that they do. These are not the only accomplishments we've made this year or this term. We've had other accomplishments. We passed the third grade reading gate. The third grade reading gate ensures that every child can read by the time they exit the third grade. That prepares them for the rest of their educational career. Governor Bryant's Works package also, we passed required high schools with graduation rates below 80% to develop a plan to improve that percentage, to get over that threshold. This helps prevent dropouts. It helps make sure that kids get a high school diploma upon graduation and they're prepared to move forward in life. We also passed the Early Learning Act, which establishes a pilot program for the implementation of early childhood education. That's something we need to continue to push forward and do. And then finally, I want to address funding. Over the last 3 years, this legislature has increased funding $171 million. That's a 7.5% increase. We have approximately 60% of our money going to education now. All of this has occurred during a time of recession, when revenues have been down, when other state agencies have received cuts or have remained flat in their funding. We have increased funding 7.5% in education over the last 3 years. So don't let anyone mislead you into thinking that this legislature is not making funding of education a priority. Don't let anyone mislead you into questioning the dedication of this legislature to education. There are those who claim that more money will solve our remaining education problems. The data does not support this approach. Over the last 20 years, we have increased funding in education 155%. At the same time, our student population has decreased. So what we've seen is more spending per student. We're putting more money into education with less students, and it results in more spending per student. Yet our test scores have remained flat. For the last 20 years, our ACT score has been 18, and it's staying at 18, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. So we've got to change that. We spend too much money on administration. We spend too much money on inefficiency. This year, we have implemented a performance-based budgeting approach, which is going to ensure the efficiency of the expenditure of dollars. It's going to cause us to look at our investment and ask ourselves, not what are we buying, but what are we accomplishing? If we're putting $1 into this program, what kind of return are we getting? And we're going to redirect those dollars into places where there is efficiency and make sure we get the biggest bang for our buck, not just in education, but all across our budget horizon. So what is needed here is good leadership. We need to examine the expenditure of our dollars, and we need better leadership. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Funding is still a priority for this legislature, and we will continue to supply education with what it needs. This current legislature is working hand in hand with MEC to accomplish your stated goals. Education is a priority for this legislature, and it will always continue to be. In 2011, my party, the Republican Party, campaigned on better jobs and better education. And I believe what I have shown you here this morning shows that we have delivered on that promise. But we have more to do. We have begun to chip away at the problems that exist in our state with education, but we need your help to continue what we have started. I'm asking you to help send us representatives and senators who are committed to education, who share our approach to improving education in Mississippi so that we can make Mississippi prosperous for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you so much for letting me be with you here this morning.